The Psychology of Losing $73 million. An analysis of the human psyche revealed that most people feel twice as much pain of losing than the pleasure of gaining. John Singleton's black crime and drug series Snowfall shows how great a man can fall. Most are familiar with the series, which graced televisions in July 2017 and reached its climactic end in April 2023. Today, we shall look into the film's protagonist, Franklin Saint, played by Damson Idris, focusing on the role that money played in his life and its impact on his life. Franklin Saint agrees to settle for half the money he has lost. Unfortunately, a few seconds before the transaction can go through, his mother, Sissy, shows up with a different plan for Teddy. Before exploiting this scene, and why it contributes highly to Franklin's life later, let's discuss how he got his millions. This makes one sympathize with the main character, but simultaneously wonder how far one would go to sell their soul for power. Franklin starts as a young black man working at a grocery store and selling weed on the side for his uncle Jerome. Soon he learns from his white friend Rob about cocaine, and Franklin decides to get into that business as profits are way better. Franklin was raised in a humble household and wants to improve his living condition. Once he tastes the money from the coke business, he begins what becomes his road to doom. In all fairness, Franklin pulls his weight, as through the seasons we see him rise and build a successful multi-million-dollar drug empire alongside his leading supplier and CIA operative, Teddy. Franklin realizes that with money he can control whatever he chooses. He attaches so much power to this thought that each decision he makes is to add on to the millions he already has. When he gets the call that his millions are missing, he goes into a rampage, only to get close to his money and then lose it again. Damson Idris puts meaning and character into his role, ensuring that most audiences identify with him. Psychologically, everyone who watches Franklin struggles to make ends meet wants the best for him. We are rooting for him to make it. We are still rooting for him when he gets into the drugs game. He hopes to make enough money to live comfortably and exit before the dramatic endings that meet most drug dealers. Unfortunately, how much money is enough? Franklin evolved from the character that we love to the character that most people hate yet relate to. Consequently, his relationships with the people in his life suffer when he starts putting money first. Similarly, most people have found themselves in situations where they did shameful things for cash. However, while most people regret their action, Franklin doesn't regret what he did until he realizes he'll be a father someday. At this point, Franklin sees how much harm and pain he has caused people selling his drugs cheaply for profit. Remember how many of his close friends have suffered from addiction? Including his bodyguard Peaches, who had robbed Franklin of $5 million. His close acquaintances, including his best friend Kevin, also lost their lives on this journey. So Franklin feels it fit to hang his boots. Only his decision has consequences that he never imagined. A brief recap here. Franklin realizes it's time to settle down and provide his girlfriend and future son with a fantastic lifestyle. He meets up with Teddy and shares his plans without considering how his decision would affect the people who depend on the business. This includes his uncle Jerome and his girlfriend who wanted to procure drugs from Teddy directly, but Franklin forbade them. Franklin is in his office when he gets a devastating call from his banks that all his money is gone. His business partner, Teddy, stole $73 million from him at the end of season 5. Franklin nearly loses his mind, but he feels that he can retrieve the money if he acts quickly. He starts looking for Teddy all over, going to the extent of murdering Teddy's old man in an attempt to get Teddy to pay back his money. Two men finally meet in a double cross that ends with Franklin kidnapping Teddy. Teddy refuses to say anything about the money, so Franklin tortures him. When Russian roulette doesn't do the trick, Franklin uses hot corn oil, eventually getting Teddy to spill. Teddy wants to split the money, and surprisingly, Franklin agrees. Half a loaf is better than none, right? Sissy observes this torturous routine and is quite disappointed when Franklin agrees to work with Teddy. She feels that Teddy cannot let Franklin be, but Franklin is so desperate he doesn't see reason. Sissy threatens to cut all ties with her son, and Franklin still doesn't budge. Instead, he reveals that Sissy's husband, Alton, is not dead as presumed, but locked up in a cell in Puerto Rico. Teddy is about to give the operator passwords to transfer money to Franklin's account when Sissy appears again and inquires about her husband. Teddy gives a snide comment, revealing that he had killed Alton, causing Sissy to shoot him and wait as the authorities come and arrest her for murder. This episode serves to show the desperation of a madman. Franklin knows that Teddy might have killed his father, but he still agrees to do business with him. The episode before this one shows how Franklin slowly loses his mind. Seeing his last chance of getting his money, albeit half back end with a bullet, unscrews his remaining sanity. Franklin's life has been dictated by what he has in his bank. He even has a stash house where he keeps his extra money and drugs. Having everything taken away from him when he was on the brink of independence relates to the point made earlier in this video. His last-minute attempts to get his money show how far he's willing to go to recover that power. Franklin had never before executed an innocent man. Now he murders Teddy's father and feels no remorse at all. His relationship with his mother reaches its sad end when he visits her in prison. Sissy refuses to talk to her son but acknowledges that he is a tragedy that she will live to regret. Franklin has to be carried out by the prison wardens when he starts yelling at Sissy and blaming her for ruining his life. Shortly after, Veronique realizes she's on the sinking boat and will drown unless she saves herself. Franklin discovers that Veronique has taken his remaining money, amounting to $800,000. Bills keep coming in, but funny enough, what worries Franklin more is the authority he commanded with his millions. This might be why he goes to Leon and demands that he gives him money. Leon looks at his friend with disappointment, coming to terms with the different paths laid ahead. One might argue that Franklin's relationship with his mother and its extreme end is what leads to his alcoholism. Remember, we've seen Franklin's friends indulge in drugs and alcohol, but he has restrained himself from any addiction. However, the primary psychological cause behind his habitual drinking is that he has given up. Not easily though, Franklin finds out that Peaches lives 15 minutes away. He rushes there hoping to get some of the leftover money, but finds that Peaches has used most of it on drugs, and only $1,200 remain. Typically, a broke person would be happy with this, as this is good money to help regain your footing, but Franklin laughs maniacally. The irony behind this amount of money is not lost on the audience. Franklin started building his empire with $1,200, and now his empire has crumbled, leaving him with the same amount. At this moment, reality hits him, and he knows he's never getting his money back. However, it is too late for him to return to the game. He has left quite a trail of dead bodies behind, and all his friends are either 6 feet under, in prison, or out of the country. Franklin realizes too late that while he was a man behind the business and the reason why his group made money, he also needed them. It was never a one-person show, and this is highlighted when Leon sides with Sissy and refuses to give Franklin money. It's sad to see the man desperately clinging to what would have been and struggling to grasp with what his future holds. Years later, when Leon comes to visit, he's taken aback by how his great friend has fallen. It's sad to see Franklin living the life he detested, like his father before him. He's lost everything, and every penny he makes fuels his alcoholism. He's alone, like everyone who became addicted to his drugs. It's sympathetic to see a man who once controlled the streets getting excited over a $20 bill. Final scene leaves some with tears since Franklin, despite his mental breakdown, recognizes his friendship with Leon and appreciates it. Maybe he will get the help he needs from one of Leon's rehab projects. But for now, the audience is left wondering whether the series did any justice to the man behind the moves. As promised, this video digs a little bit deeper into Franklin's psyche and how losing the money he had spent years making affected him. A point to carry home is that it's not how much money you make, but who you share it with. Franklin thought he could make it alone as long as he had the money. He ignores any advice from the people closest to him as he thinks he is better than them. And this might be true intellectually, but streetwise, other people knew best. Franklin had some great times on his journey to the top, but this only serves as a main pain platter, as his moments were somehow attributed to his wealth. In the end, he loses his father, his mother, his son, his girlfriend, his mentor, his friends. The list goes on. What makes his series ending so unfortunate is that Franklin only realizes what he's losing at the very end, as he's too busy running after the money. From the day he got his first taste of cash, he became addicted. Like a heroin addict going through withdrawal, Franklin slowly loses his mind and himself, exchanging one addiction for the other. The series could have shown Franklin changing his ways and becoming a better member of society. However, his journey to the top would have been irrelevant. Franklin's loss of his millions was profound because he spent 6 seasons working to earn that money. He remembers everything he had to do to get there, so it is challenging for a man like him to return from where he started. Dramatically, the series ends with a weathered-down Franklin walking down the same streets we saw him walk through in the series' first episode. Thank you for watching. Tune into the channel for more amazing videos. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and comment down below.